I'm going to do a live on brainwashing. I think it's time. I'm going to have to explain how boomers, and I have a right to say it because I'm a boomer. Not proud of it either. Because though I might be a boomer on the scale of when I was born, I'm definitely not a boomer. So I'm going to wait for people to get on this live, and we're going to be talking about brainwashing. And you're good old American. Good old, I just believe I'm responsible to make sure that I'm going to have a good FICO score. We're going to talk about brainwashing. We're going to talk about money. And we're going to talk about how your parents, your grandparents are afraid of the system and they don't even know it. So I'm going to give you some examples. Thank you, Yessi. It's good to see you, Becca. I think I saw you coming through, Becca. Awesome. Hopefully my other compadres will come soon and we'll talk about brainwashing and money. We really have to talk about it because in America, we have ways. This is why Leona Hemsley went to jail. She only went to jail because she said one thing. It's the little people that pay taxes. She wasn't lying. She was correct. But she said it. And she was attacked. But as you well know, that's a fact, okay? So first, let me just say one thing. If you have relatives right now, Grandma Joe, Grandpa Joe, whoever, and they have money, and they have a stupid will. What's a stupid will? Well, a stupid will is not having a living trust. Okay? A living trust is that you put the house under the living trust, you put your money in a living trust, and it's accessible through a process, okay? Where when you die, it goes directly into the people you love's hands immediately. The living trust protects you from any debts owed. Once that person dies, it's bye-bye. That's it. There's this weird myth that if your parent dies, okay, because they died of, say, disease or cancer or whatever it is, that when they die, you as the child, the adult child, will be stuck with a hospital bill. That's a lie. I don't know where people are getting this idea from, but from everything I've experienced, it's a lie. My mother came from Nevada to California, and she had a shitload of bills in hospice care, and I paid nothing. No one went after me. She also owed other things. Nothing. My twin passed. I owe nothing. My husband died. I owe nothing. And we were married and I owe nothing. Okay? So my point to you is that if you have parents who actually wanted, I remember my mom says, which I had to really talk to her off the ledge. Not because she had anything to give me. On the side note, by the way, I didn't get any inheritance. That wasn't about it. But she was like, I want to die with my good name. That was her thing. I want to die with my good name. I'll never forget it. I go, what do you mean? She had an 850 FICO score. I said, what do you mean? Do you really think American Express cares about you, even knows you're alive? Do you really think that any of them, I said, why do you think all your bills have to be paid? They don't give a fuck about you. If you die tomorrow, my argument for her was, stop being in fucking fear and stop feeling as if your FICO score matters as you take your last breath. But the brainwashing of the baby boomers is a real serious problem. And it's a slave mentality. God bless her soul. Okay, she actually broke away from that. Does that make sense so far? Hi, my lovely Tony. Oh my God, you're so sweet. Hi, my lovely Letty. So does that make sense? So if you are a boomer out there, okay, if you're a baby boomer, as a parent to your adult children and grandchildren, and you have money to give, like really real money, like you have a house, you have, I don't know, $250,000 in a bank, do your people that you love a favor. Make them a priority over any other debt you have. They are your priority. Because when you die, you want to make sure that they can grieve in peace and that all the money goes to, every fucking dime goes to them. The last thing you want to do is pay bills. I'm sorry. The priority is your people. not companies that will write the loss as a loss off the taxes, profit and loss statements. Let's use our brains. Let's not be enslaved to the system. We're so afraid that, well, they'll come after me, daddy, if you or grandma, if you pass, they'll come after me. How the fuck are they going to come after you? How are they going to come after you if you have a living trust? Come after what? So this is something you got to research on your own. Apparently, this is not financial advice. This is spiritual advice on making sure that in the material world you take care of your people. Your priority is your people. No one else. Everyone else comes at the end of the line. All the way out. If you have a debt, a credit card bill, whatever the fuck it is, they come last. Who comes first is your family. Always, always your family. And you do whatever the fuck. If you know you are not going to survive, you do whatever the fuck you need to do to make sure your people are going to be okay. I'm sorry. Okay? Because after Katrina and now we have Hurricane Elena, Kamala just came out saying, oh, when you apply, let me just walk you through this. Like, wrap your head around this. So they've just approved another $1 billion package to Ukraine and our little blue and white team. And she said, if you apply, you can get $750, not $750,000 per family, right? Or something incredible because they can afford to. And you would say, oh, Tony, why would they give that? Well, because they're giving it to other people in other countries. That's why. Because the little white and blue team's getting free fucking medical care. You guys are also into capitalism, right? Oh my God, I don't want to be in a socialized system. Really? Well, in that little country, the white and blue team, they're getting free medical care. That's socialism, my friends. Unless you're making $36 million a year, you better start embracing socialism. What does that mean? It's not communism. Please get educated. Get an education. Meanwhile, your priority is your family. So, if you can't afford a living trust, then find out how to do it online and get yourself a living trust and get it notarized. And that's the end of it. I'm planning to do that. I have a life insurance policy for my son. Okay? It goes directly to him. All right? And that's it. It goes directly to him. Now, as soon as I can, I will have a living trust. As soon as I can. Because I think it's something like $1,000, $2,000. But I know some of you can actually afford that. You can slap it on your credit card. Or pull the money out to pay for your attorney fees. But you better do it. You better do it. Because if you don't, as a boomer, you're a disgrace to make your bills a priority over your children. It's a fucking disgrace. Well, you want to die with a FICO score of 850? How the fuck is that going to help you in front of God? Or in front, or whoever you believe in? How's that going to help you? Is it going to help your kids that all your bills are paid? Oh, good, all the bills are paid. You know, my phone bill's paid, my car payment's paid, everything's paid. Oh, and they're going to get like $10,000. Really? Out of $200,000, you're going to leave your kids $10,000 because you're so afraid of not paying your bills? Are you that brainwashed? You better be like a Robin Hood, my friends. There's sometimes when you do the wrong things for the right reasons. I'm going to put it to you that way. But I'm getting really sick of boomers in the way they think. They think like slaves. They're dancing around the 80s. Let me do 80 moves. Let me show my dance move when I was a kid in the 80s. Meanwhile, the world's exploding. I've said that before. Like, fucking wake up. Your priority is your family. That's it. You have a son. You have a daughter. You have money in the bank. What are they going to do? Hunt you down? What are they going to do to you when you've been buried or cremated? And what are you going to do to your kids? How are they responsible? I could see a husband being concerned because they might go after the wife, okay? But then that's why you have a living trust. So that everything's protected. And I think we as a lower middle class, even poor, get your ducats together if you have any money, like a life insurance policy or whatever, and put something, get a structural system that protects your family no matter fucking what. Okay? That should be your number one concern. Certainly not your bills. Certainly not the hospital bills, okay? In this country. I'm sorry. I went into a hospital because I broke my finger taking my dog for a walk. She saw a squirrel. She's a Irish wolfhound. Fucking broke my finger, right? I mean, like, you can tell it broke. Went to an American hospital. Your finger is totally, what is the word they said? Shattered. The bone is shattered. You need surgery. Well, the Obamacare is such a hustle. Should I break it down for you at $350 a month plus a $7,000 deductible? It didn't make sense because I'm never sick. There's a consciousness to insurance because you know I've noticed that when people have health, no offense, okay, do what you want, but people who have health insurance suddenly start going to the hospital ER with a cough and a little concern and whatever. Constantly, they want to get their money's worth. I guess that's the mentality. But when you don't have it, it's amazing how you're not sick. So anyway, guess how much the bill was just to see me for 15 minutes. It was about $9,000. And I didn't pay it. And guess what happened? They wrote it off. No shit. Right? They wrote it off. Why? Because I was not going to pay it. Why wouldn't I pay it, you say? Because had I been in France, Italy, England, anywhere else, they would have scheduled me for surgery. Within a week, I would have had stitches on my finger. And it would probably cost me something like $500 out of, I'm not joking when I say that, $500. Not joking. I know, because I see like TikTok videos on Americans going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I had this surgery, I had a root canal, it was $30. I'm hearing that. Aren't you hearing that? Aren't you like fucking comparing what's happening? So let's go back to the boomers who just want to pay all their bills and leave their kids in a lurch. So they can't buy a house or start a new life in this country or another country. What are you fucking thinking? Don't you see how our government is not helping our poor brothers and sisters in the Carolinas? Do you not see that it's another I never thought I'd see this again. My son was 3 years old, I believe, when Katrina happened. I think he was 5. I'm trying to remember. It doesn't matter. The point is, it was a long time ago. We should not be sitting here having the same fucking conversation. It's like a rerun. Your priority is always going to be your family. You know what's interesting about the Kennedys? When Papa Kennedy, the main patriarch, started the family, there's a lot of toxicities in all families, don't get me wrong. But you know what he fucking understood? Family first. No matter who, no matter what, family first. Start acting like you are loyal to your family and do not be loyal to your fucking bill collectors or to your debtors. You're not going to go to debtor's prison. It's not the 1780s. Okay? Number one. Number two, when you have a situation that we're seeing right now where they've just signed another package of billions of dollars, but then Biden, Dementia Biden, is asking us who are trying to figure out how to make our ends meet, to send and to donate, because we're Americans and we should donate money. Boomers, fucking wake up. If you don't have a living will and you have that kind of money where you're going to leave your kids out of like $250,000, you're going to end up paying all your debts and you're going to leave your kids with just 20, 30,000. You should be fucking embarrassed and ashamed that you've prioritized debtors who are the very debtors who were bailed out in 2008. And should I go on and on and on? Where is your mind? Do you have any loyalty to your bloodlines? See, this is the only time you'll ever hear me say, be loyal to your children. Why am I saying that? Because to me, bloodlines and family is fluid. What do I mean? Well, look at my past videos. I don't have time. This is not the conversation today. But today it's about you have a son, you have a daughter, you have grandchildren. Your responsibility to them above all else. No one else comes in front of that. And that's it. And then when it's lights out for you, you will cross over and none of this bullshit will mean anything anyway. You'll laugh at it. You'll go, what was wrong with me? Why was I so concerned with my good name? Why was my good name to corporations that don't give one fuck about you matter to you? Like, where's my ego that I have to make sure that everyone feels like I'm the pillar of society by paying all my bills before I pay my kids? I just had a conversation with, a client on this. It's insane to me. I mean, what are your feelings about this? Do you really think that this is the right way to go? Like, pay your bills first and then make sure your kids have something. Like, I remember my mom left me no money, to be honest with you. And God bless her. It wasn't her. That wasn't about that. She didn't have money to leave. And that's not the conversation. The conversation with my mother just is that she really wanted her FICO to be 850 when she died. And I was like, why are you paying these? Who gives a fuck? Mom, you might not be here. I'm hoping you're here till Thanksgiving. I'm just, please, can you just relax on your bills? Just stop having anxiety over your bills. You're living with me. I'm paying all the bills. The only concern for you is your cell phone. That's it. Everything else should go by the wayside. Relax. Just chill. Let me get you the best food. Let me get you the Chateau Neuf du Pape you love. Let me get you a really good bottle of champagne. Let's celebrate your new birthing. Do you know she wouldn't do it? So I had to do it, meaning I went out and buy her a good bottle of Chateau Neuf du Pape. I had to go buy her a really good bottle of champagne because she wouldn't spend it. She'd rather pay her bills. I remember when I was in my 20s, I worked at Macy's in the linen department in San Francisco Union Square. It was called the Flagship Store, an amazing store. And there was a young man who had AIDS. And believe me, you could tell, as soon as he walked with his partner, we saw it. He looked like something out of Biafra, like he hadn't eaten in months. But it was the disease, and it was the 80s. And he had Macy's cards. He applied for it. And he got, in those days, which was a lot of money in those days, he got $1,000. And he said, I want you, speaking to me, I want you to set me up with the best linens because I'm not going to pay this bill. I go, okay. Like I didn't give a shit. And he said, I want you to set me up with the best linens, the best pillows, the best everything because that will be my deathbed. And baby, we shopped. We made sure that bed was going to be the most comfortable thing. We had a feather bed. We had down pillows, Euro, 300, in those days, 300 thread counts. We got him the best shit, and he walked out of there holding on to his partner to create his beautiful, magical bed. That's the attitude you should have. All of you, especially boomers. Okay? It didn't look like you had long to go. Okay? So learn from that, okay? Because honestly, this is getting ridiculous. I'm like you, Tony. I'd rather enjoy life than pay the bills. Absolutely. Fuck the bills. Fuck the bills. If you have it, why would you want to give it to your kin? Exactly. Fuck. Exactly. And of course, there's always idiots that want to make comments. I can't read your reading. If I could, careless about my credit score and student debt. No, I know you're a young person, and this is very much a problem where the FICO score has you by the neck. It's an enslaving mechanism. Because to get an 850, do you know how long it took my mom to get an 850? I'm going to explain to you what she had to do. She went to France, then came back here. She must have been 56, 57, paid off some bills, and it took her until she was in her 70s to get an 850 FICO score. She was making probably something like $65,000 a year. So you can imagine, right? And saving money, putting money in the bank so that because she couldn't come up with some kind of retirement fund, there was nothing. She was on a 1099. So you know what that means also, being a 1099. And it took her something like, I just realized, something like 20 years to get an 850 FICO score. It's a game. Don't you see? If you pay off all your credit cards, I have watched FICO because I needed to because I was buying this house. I have seen the fucking game where I read people saying, I just paid all my credit cards and my FICO dropped 100 points. Why is this happening to me? And comments were like, you have to leave a balance of $30. So we're playing kickball with money. We're playing so if you're really good with your money, right, and you've paid off all your bill, you have absolutely no credit card debt, you are punished. Okay? But if you keep a balance of $30, okay, so I had a credit card, I'll never forget it. It was a TJ Maxx card. I'm just bringing this up to show you the fuckery. And it was a $400 limit. And there was $11. And 3 weeks later, I came in to pay it off because, I was playing that game. And it had jumped to $33. I went, what the fuck's going on here? 3 weeks, not 4 weeks, not 5 weeks, 3 weeks. I paid it off. Why did I pay it off? Because then they dropped every month I was paying off $400, and they dropped it to 100. And I'm like, I'm not fucking 12. You give me $100. Fuck it. Here, let me pay it off and let me close it. And I closed it. So what I'm realizing, and I've been realizing this for a long time, but I really got it because for almost 2 solid years, I was using myfico.com, not a plug, just saying that was the best one. It actually was the best one of all of them. Because if I told my mortgage broker that my FICO was this, my mortgage broker kept coming back impressed me, holy fuck, you're right, it's exactly that. And I go, yeah, that's the only one that you use. They use real FICO scores. Anyway, not to plug anything. And so for 2 years, I watched the game. And I researched this game called FICO that has us enslaved. And I was like, holy fuck. Like, this is a joke. Like, I should pay all my credit cards and I should have a 900, not drop 100 points. So this guy had an 800 and it dropped all the way down to 7. And he was trying to buy a house. That's why he paid off all his debts. It fucked him up. He was mad as hell. I started seeing a pattern of these kinds of sharing of stories on these FICO chat boards. You know what I'm saying? So my point, going back to the living trust, and again, each state's going to be different because I am not a financial wizard, clearly, or else I'd be sitting on fucking probably $200,000-$300,000 in crypto. And I'm not. Okay, so I'm not gonna. But do I know how to manifest what I need when I need it? I'm pretty good at that. But still working on refining it. And I've had 3 deaths in 4 years, so excuse me if my energies sometimes are off. But what I will say is this: if you actually have money. And what I mean by money is money like I just described at the topmost of this live, then you owe it to your family to have a living trust. If you don't have a living trust, you are irresponsible. Because even a will, from what I'm hearing, I took classes on this, by the way, back in early 2000 on trusts, believe it or not, in college. And what I found is that even a will have you in probate for a fucking year, sometimes 3 or 4 years. So again, you're fucking up your family. So if you have a will where you actually can give money, property to your children, you better have a living trust. That's it. And living trust every year. And this is what I learned way back when, okay, was that every year some living trust would have like, if you had like $20 million, it was up to $20 million, you'd get taxed. Then it could be $100 million and you didn't get taxed. But then suddenly the following year, if you had $10 million, you'd be taxed. I hope I make myself understood. Okay? So, but to be honest with you, unless you're sitting on 10, 20, 30, 40, $50 million, that shouldn't concern you. Because you're not going to hit those numbers unless you have them. Then at that point, of course, and the attorney will tell you what to do, obviously. But to me, the fact that there are boomers, and they're all boomers, all of them, because most of you guys are Gen Xers and millennials, and you've never played this game. You would never fucking play this stupid ass game. This is a boomer brainwashing problem. And boomers do this shit. Where they play by the fucking rules called the rules of poverty thinking. The rules of poor people. You better play the game that rich people play. Because the fact that you've got Jeff Bezos, who's in the nosebleed of billions, paying $148 million on taxes per year. That's how incredibly brilliant his attorneys are to pare down the taxes all the way down to a nub on a pencil. Meanwhile, most of you are paying 1/4 of your salary. Do you get what I'm saying? You see where I'm coming from? So your priority is your kids. If you decided to have kids, and you're a boomer, then your number one priority is to your kids. That's it. That's that. I don't give a shit. It's inexcusable to actually make your bill paying your priority. That is like, what is wrong with your brain? Do you have one? And I remember my mom, I couldn't talk her out of a couple things. It was insane. And finally, I just said, fuck it. I'm just going to help her, connect with her inner child and connect with her. I was like, I realized that these are the same people who wake up in the morning making breakfast watching the fucking news because they want to be informed. Knowing that the news they're watching is psyop bullshit. Knowing all of it is lies. And all of it is bad news anyway. So she's setting up her morning. I'll never forget. I was living with her for a little while, a window of time. I was losing my fucking mind because I was sleeping and I was trying to get my head together to meditate, and she's fucking watching the news. And then at lunch, she'd watch the news. And then at night, she'd watch the news. Dan Rather, those kinds of people, right? And what I'm saying to you is that is baby boomer toxic shit. It's brainwashing. They actually think they're informed. Instead of going on, if you really, really want to know something, believe me, if it's important, somebody will tell you. I remember I lived up in the mountains of Mariposa, and the Notre Dame had been burned. And because I had 5 friends who knew I was born in Paris, I didn't know, right? Until I got 5 texts. Oh my God, Notre Dame is burning. And then I jumped on my computer to see what was going on. In other words, when it's fucking important, don't worry. You'll get the news, the real news, not the bullshit, brainwashing, car chases, bullshit that really is cluttering your mind, lowering your frequency, and fucking up your head so you can't focus on what's important. So that is the boomer mentality. And that's why I'm telling you, me and my twin we might have been born boomers, but we were never boomers. We never belonged to that society that believed and drank the Kool-Aid and relished it from day one. People have to do better. So here we go. Letty, we will be doing that for our children, and we have life insurance policies for them only. I was manifesting for all my debt to be paid off yesterday. I changed my mind today. Lol. No shit. Rachel, that's terrible. I wanted to build his early so he wouldn't struggle getting things done. Credit Karma has been more accurate. No, actually it's not. Credit Karma is not accurate at all. Believe me, you're learning from the queen who bought her house. Don't tell me. Credit Karma is shit. What you want is myfico.com, which shows you exactly mortgage. What you want to look up when you do MyFICO is look under mortgage FICO. It's actually broken down to mortgage FICO, if you want to buy a car FICO, if you want to get a new credit card FICO. I'm sorry, no. My mortgage banker is going, holy shit, you're right. You're the first person who actually knows your FICO. I go, yeah, credit card is, I forgot what it's called, but it's a different FICO score that really is not accurate at all. It's giving you the highest FICO and it's not accurate at all. So it's kind of like I know. I've been following this for like 2 years. So trust me, I know what I'm talking about when it comes to FICO monitoring systems. I know it very well. And I've actually sent my reports to my mortgage bankers. I one in New Mexico, one in California until I decided to move to where I am now, another state. And they were all fucking impressed, going, holy shit. I go, yeah, I know. I had all 3. It's $39.99. Again, I'm not plugging them. I'm just telling you I know because, Skylar, you're saying Credit Karma is shit. And all of them know that. They all know it's shit. It'll give you an idea of how bad it is or what's on it, but it doesn't give you the 3, and you know that. You should know that. It only gives you the 2, number 1. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about FICO being an enslaved mechanism. It's kind of like socialized credit in China, to be honest. Except, of course, China's worse. Don't get me started on that. But it is an enslavement tool. And we know that. Now, what's interesting is that I've never had high credit card balances, nor have I ever had high credit cards, okay? So most of everything I buy with cash. I'm already living a European system. Does that make sense? Because in Europe, if you don't have cash, you're not getting it. To get a credit card in France or Switzerland or whatever, you better have a lot of money and know your banker, okay? So just, there's something pure about that. And that's why most of us are less likely to consume and buy. The average girlfriends that I've had throughout my life always had like 45 fucking handbags or some insane shit like that. It's like, you don't need that many things. Like, I'm looking in my closet going, how... you don't need all these things. There's something pure about buying high quality. Like, this is something I was raised in again, sorry if it offends you, and I don't really care. You need to learn about how other people live in different parts of the world. In France, for example, because I can speak of it very well, there's a sale once a year with Hermes. You all know who Hermes is. Birkin bag, that's Hermes. And once a year, there's a sale. Usually, it's January, the first, second week, and people stand in line. It's like a Star Wars line to get an Hermes scarf. And most of these people will buy certain things, right? And they will have these Hermes scarves are passed down. My grandmother, I got my grandmother's Hermes scarf, my mother's Hermes scarf. I have 3 generations of Hermes scarf I've inherited. If I wanted to sell them, I could sell them each on eBay for $500. They're actually an investment. But I won't, because I love them, because they're my grandmother's and my mother's. I would never do that. But the point is, okay, so we buy for quality, not quantity. We don't go to TJ Maxx and we don't go to Target. We go and buy one suit. It's $1,000, but it's on sale for $5, and we'll save our money, and we will have that suit in our closet for 20, 25 years. I have a jacket from when I was 25 years old. And it's perfectly cut. It's in perfect condition. So my point to you is that there's a simplicity to, if you can't afford it, then you shouldn't have it. And there's something pure about that. It's very freeing about that. And I'm looking forward to living that lifestyle again. But what I'm going to say, and really the main thing was for you boomers out there that actually have money to pass on to your children, and you're actually kicking the ball on what your bills are going to be, fucking do, if you love your kids. Now, if you don't love your kids, do whatever the hell you want. Keep them in probate for 3 years. Do whatever the hell you want. But if you love your kids and your grandkids and you want them to have a better life, then a living trust, go right to an attorney, call 3 or 4 attorneys, see how much it costs, have them come over. If you're ill, if you have cancer, whatever, have them come over. They'll come over, or they'll do a Zoom to make sure you're in your right space of mind, and then go ahead and get it done. And just do it. Do it because you love your kids. I mean, I can't believe people are actually prioritizing corporations that wouldn't give a shit if you were in right now. There are a lot of corporations right now. I haven't heard one corporation making a public statement, because I'm sure they have Visa has got clients in North Carolina, South Carolina, and the Carolinas, and the mountains, and the Appalachians. I'm sure none of them have made one move to say publicly, we are sending $100 million to help with the flood. No one has done that. So, but you guys want to pay your bills. I'm in hysterics over this. I'm like in shock. I just paid off my car today, and they would have charged me a closing fee if I didn't call them. Isn't that sick? It's sick. You got to I have like 20-point scores off something crazy. I was thinking of taking my car with me, right, when I move out of the continent, and I was thinking of paying the car off, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to call them at 50 cents, 50 cents on the dollar. In other words, I owe you that. I want to pay you half of that. Will you take it? Take it or leave it. And I think that if we get more bold about negotiating, right, you might be surprised. You might be surprised. I mean, it's not the same. A phone bill is a phone bill. It's a service. You can't negotiate that. That's not going to work. Okay, but for a car, maybe you refinanced your car once or twice with the same company. Then you finally want to pay it off. Yeah, you may want to actually negotiate 50 cents on the dollar or 25 cents on the dollar. You never know. You don't ask, you don't know. But I feel like as a people, we need to get a lot more fucking creative with this shit. We need to look at these massive companies and go, really? My priority is to pay all my bills and not leave my kids shit? Like, what the fuck? Am I that brainwashed? Am I that unworthy in my own self? Do I need to feel like, oh my God, I'm dying, I'm going to be okay. I have an 800 FICO score. I'm a good person. Does that what it take? I'm a good person? I remember once, because I remember that my husband at the time, we were both in our 20, I think we were 29, we're about to turn 30. And we had been put in a very bad situation by a family member. Very, very bad. And so we didn't have a car. In LA, to not have a car in 1991 is bad. You have no idea how bad that was. In fact, we would make a joke and say we were singing the song, No One Walks in LA. And we would sing it as we walked in LA. But my point to you is that the hustle, another hustle, we were looking for an apartment. And I don't know if you know this, but usually they have an application fee per person, right? So it's $45, even then it was $45 per person. So it was me and Nick, $45 and $45. So it was $90 for 2 people. And we did it a couple times and lost money because our FICO, we didn't even know what our FICO score was at the time. We didn't have a clue, but we were denied. And finally somebody said, oh, we see a medical bill. I said, medical bill? I didn't even know, right? We didn't know. And those were, again, 91. So you couldn't see shit. You couldn't look anything up. You were at the mercy of whatever people told you. Okay, just in 1991. And I remember a person making a very derogatory comment, like, "Why would you have a medical bill?" And I said to that person, "If I was dealing drugs, I'd have probably a Black American Express card. What's wrong with you? Clearly, I'm a working class. Clearly, I'm hustling. Clearly, we're doing it legally, or else we wouldn't be talking to you. I'd probably buy a house in cash. That's when you could actually do, you could buy houses with cash. It was called unstated income, no documentation. And there were mortgage companies in those days that could actually finance you for $500,000 house, and you could just walk in with cash. And or finance it, and based on how much you had in your bank account. Swear to God. Why do I know this? Because my sister-in-law was doing that shit, and she was a multimillionaire doing it. So that's why I know. And so the point that I'm trying to make is that now you have to look at the FICO and go, what is the high purpose? Because you see the movie, and you've all seen that movie, it's called, what was it called? Under the Tuscan Sun. Diana Ladd has divorced her husband. He's bought her out of the house, right? And he's moving in his new girlfriend who's pregnant. Remember that scene? Okay. And she goes to Italy, right? And she sees this villa, and she decides on an impulse, I'm going to buy the villa. And she gets the villa. And she's sitting with the real estate attorney. You know that scene. I hope you do. And she gets the keys on the spot. And she says, well, we haven't finished all the signing of the papers. And she goes, it's not a Vespa. You can't steal this. It's a house. Normali, she says, handing the keys to Diana Ladd. Normali, which means it's normal. Take the keys. We'll finish up tomorrow. Whatever. We're good. It's not a Vespa, meaning it's not a fucking bicycle. You don't have to, or, a Vespa. And there's something about that kind of consciousness, and it's very freeing. To say, I have this amount of money. Here are my deposits every month. This is how much I make. And the bank will say, well, do you have 20%? Yes, I have 20%. How much do you make? I make that. Your payments will be that. Can you afford that? Oh, based on the average, we know that you can afford that. Where was your last rentals? It was here, it was there. You were never late. It doesn't look like it. No. Okay, well, you're approved. That's it. That's fucking it. That's it. And you're able to finance a house. And that's why there's so many young people who own houses in Europe. And so there's a lot of things that we've been accepting as, well, that's just how it is. But you have to remember, Jim Crow that's just how it is. People go to the white bathroom and people go to the black bathroom. That's just how it is. Women don't vote. That's just how it is. Women don't get credit cards. That's just how it is. Women can't get a mortgage under their own name. That's how it is. And so now we need to push the envelope to say, fuck FICO. Because you guys are playing a game. Because if I am making $100,000 a year and I have a Black and American Express and a Visa card and one has a $30,000 balance and then I pay it all off, my FICO score should not drop 100 points. My FICO should be the same or higher because but you have to keep a balance of $10. But if you're late 31 days, you get zinged as a late pay even though you might have forgotten. Because life happens. People die and you're in grief. And bills are the last thing on your mind unless you have auto pay. Why would you have auto pay if you're just playing a game and leaving $20 or $30 balance on a $10,000 limit? Why would you have auto pay for that? There's nothing to auto pay, really. And so the level of fuckery that happens in the shadows with these massive corporations that have gotten us in anxiety over our FICO. And it controls where you're going to get hired. It controls where you're going to live. It controls everything. Okay? Controls what kind of car you're going to drive. I have a friend whose car payment was $950. And it was not a sports car. It was not a $100,000 car at all. It was a new car. What was it? It was a Toyota. But it was $950 because of her FICO. And she needed a car. Does that make sense? So there's a lot of bullshit going on. It's too much. And so meanwhile, everyone is, Grandma Moses wants to just pay everything. I negotiated all my debt years ago. I refused to pay all the interest to greedy companies. Absolutely. You have to refuse. You have to say, I do not consent. I do not consent to these bills. I do not consent to this kind of fuckery. What? Okay. Sorry. I need controls your car insurance too. Actually, yes, it does control your car insurance, because I'm just going to share this because I was paying $98 a month for my car insurance in California, a AAA. Okay, well, they don't have AAA where I live in New York. Okay, and so now suddenly they've jumped it to $300 for no reason. There's been no accidents. There's been nothing. So why isn't there some kind of control? Now, my son was doing research in Portugal, and do you know how much it would be in Portugal? $30 a month. 30 fucking bucks a month for car insurance. So I think we need to reframe and demand and not consent. Yeah, $30 a month. In France, it's $500 a year. I could pay my whole year. Okay, so cars, I was looking at Toyota 4Runner. It was $4,000 to buy. So, I'm just saying we got some problems, okay? And the fact that we have a government who is sending billions, and they've been sending billions and billions. Where the fuck is this money coming from? I thought we were in debt. Number one, where is this money coming from that we have to send this money? Let me ask you this. If you had $5,000 a month, okay, and that's all you had, and you had a 3-bedroom house, and you had a friend that was going to go homeless, would you send them three? Your budget is $5,000 a month. Your payments, your bills come out to $3,500, and then after that, what's left, $1,500, is for your groceries and your this, your that. Okay, let me ask you this: would you actually send your friend $1,500, or would you say to your friend, listen, I'm going to send you $200. Just fuck the apartment. You've been out of work for 2-3 months. You're about to get home. Just come here. I have a bedroom. Do your best. I'll help you. You would never give them $1,500 though. So what we've done in this country essentially is basically send all of our resources, which is what France did. Just on the side note, France in 1774 sent all of their money to America. Marquis de Lafayette was very involved in the American Revolution, as you know. You must know this. I hope you do. And so he begged the King Louis for money, and they kept and because King Louis and Marie Antoinette were naive, clueless, out of touch, didn't understand what they were approving. Sounds like, dementia Biden. And they sent so much money for the American Revolution. You owe your country to the French, by the way, on the side note. And it bankrupted France. And it created the French Revolution because people were starving in France. Is that where we're going? Are we sending every fucking dime we have to countries that are evil? Let's be honest. Roseanne Barr came out. She's Ukrainian. I don't know if you guys know that. But she has spun out talking about why they left that country. There's a reason, okay? Okay? They don't have angel wings at all. Not at all. And I just posted something that is very concerning. And you can look it under my repost if you want, about what's going on. So all of our billions are going to foreign aid. And we can't even aid. First of all, before the flood, we couldn't even help our homeless vets, men and women who went as patriots to serve this country, to fight the good fight. Many of them going and enlisting in droves when 9/11 happened. Many of them are homeless today. But we won't buy them a house. We won't, and I'm not kidding when I say that, okay? I'm sorry. You come back and you're fucked up from a war. You better get a fucking house from this government. And you might say, well, Tony, that's just not how it's done. Like I said, we better start doing things better. You come back to this country and you are completely mentally destroyed, or you come back from this country and somehow you're okay, you get a fucking house. I'm sorry. Oh, well, it's VA, VA finances, of VA loans. No, I mean you get a house. That's it. It's paid for. Here are the keys. Thank you for your service. But we should not have homeless people that serve this country. I'm sorry, it's disgraceful. Meanwhile, Kamala, today she was sober, handed people who, by the way, again, the level is, I can't even wrap my head over the stupid level. You have to apply for the $750. You have to apply. How are they going to apply in a flood zone with or without a phone that could have been lost, with or without electricity? Kamala, you really think they're going to apply for a $750 loan when they're trying to figure out where to find water and where to find food and maybe even find a lost relative or pet? You want them to apply for this? I'm sorry, Kamala, if you have their addresses, which you do, why don't you just, deposit the money into their account? Okay? And if it's not used in a year, you can assume that they were lost and the money can be sent back to you, because I'm sure the bank can actually refund you guys the funds. And you might say, well, that's just not how it works. You see, and I would say to you, we better start coming up with new ways of making it work, in my humble opinion. And I'm not so humble today. I'm sorry. Does that make sense? It makes sense to me. It's really simple. It's simple to me. Let me see what else. You're welcome. I don't know if I'm saying thank you to you or you're thanking someone else. So we need to do better. Okay. There are people suffering right now. I can't even imagine. They're suffering dehydration. Listen, I didn't own a TV when Katrina happened. I was listening to NPR news in the radio. I was listening to the news every day, and I was blogging about it every single day. Sometimes I was so grateful I didn't get to see what was being described. Descriptions of people on rooftops handing their babies, literally using a Sharpie on the baby's body of their Social Security so that they could find their baby after. I saw a woman, it doesn't matter what color, who was on the rooftop, and a report, this is Katrina I'm talking about, who was reporting and showing a woman who had a little 3-year-old boy who perished of dehydration. They'd been on that roof for 3 or 4 days, and the reporters never thought of, trying to rescue them off the roof, or at the very least to get the kid to a hospital to get IV hydration. No, it never occurred to the reporter to actually even drop water. No, it was just, it's like wildlife kingdom. Let's see who survives and who doesn't. We have been really brainwashed. I mean, truly, radically brainwashed to actually accept this and to allow $750 to be the price. Now, a lot of people were saying, well, that's what they got in Maui. They got a little less. That is a government that, if a parent did that to you, what would you say? If you had a millionaire, or billionaire parent, and you called them and said, I'm in a flood zone in the Philippines, or I'm in a flood zone in wherever, right? That was a hurricane. My whole house is destroyed. And your parent is a multimillionaire. They supposedly love you. And you said, Mom, Dad, I really need help. I've got no money. All my food is gone. I have no water. I have no transportation. I'm trapped. I have no money. I've lost everything, and my insurance won't cover it because they're not going to cover it because supposedly we weren't in a flood zone, so I didn't have flood insurance, right? So I will never be able to rebuild this house. Let me ask you, if a parent that was a billionaire, because essentially that's what this is, told you, well, let me know what you need, and just kind of break it down as to why you need this money, but once you break it down and you can prove to me you need $750, I'll give you $750, but I'm not giving you more than that. But you're going to have to prove to me like what you've lost, and I need pictures, and I need you to actually explain to me what happened, where you live. And that's basically a narcissistic parent. And I think we have a narcissistic government because their priority isn't you. They want to impress the world. And what they don't realize is that the world has completely turned their backs and we are not respected. And the world is watching how we are treating these flood victims. The world is watching and going, wow, they harm everyone. They don't just harm foreign people who are innocent, women, children, and innocent men, but they harm their own people. Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's the kind of, system they have. And their people accept this. And so they're questioning our mental health, to be honest, as a people. Have you noticed? I mean, doesn't that make sense? So I heard they were taking all the money from the Red Cross money that American people were raising. First of all, why would any of you actually send money to the Red Cross? Why would any of you ever do that? I don't understand. I think what Americans are being asked to do is educate yourself as soon as possible. Ignorance is no longer an excuse. You've got massive information. You've got trillions of books online, articles online, different newspapers from all over the world online about the Red Cross. I think you better start, all of you, getting online and using the internet for more than, no offense, I'm not saying that to you guys, for more than porn and entertainment. Time to fucking get educated. Read the right papers, read foreign papers about how that particular agency has not helped as many people as you think. Okay? Because you and I both know that what happened to Maui, Native people, Hawaiian people who have been there generations before we ever knew they existed, they were there on that land. For us to not write checks, just fucking checks, and for us to allow insurance companies not to pay the bill on the incineration of their homes, much less where are the kids, right, Oprah? Really, this is really important that we start really understanding that when you have an insurance company, and this has been going on for years, and you know this, you've heard your friends not being able to get insurance because you have a pre-existing condition, you have leukemia, you have cancer, and we will not renew your insurance. You know this. You've heard this. We had the movie John Q with Denzel Washington. Was that entertainment, or was that a hint that there was something wrong with the system? If you haven't seen that movie, you should. As for the Red Cross, I actually did a live on what happened in Zaire in 1990. I think it was 94, 90, and I've mentioned it before. I think it was 94, 96. Around that time, I'm trying to remember when I worked there at Bank of America. I was very young, and I went to the bank president, right? And I said, guess what? They have Ebola going on. There's an explosion of Ebola in Zaire, and they need a generator. I just read the LA Times. Here it is. I called the reporter, confirming this story. And then said, can we open an account and raise money to buy them a generator? Because they need a generator. Fucking pandemonium. The phone's going down. There's no electricity. And if you've ever studied Ebola, you know that it's not a joke. And I had everything organized, bank president approval, all that shit. I'm not joking. Okay, business banking department. Never forget that. Called Red Cross in Washington. And what was the answer? The answer was, well, they need to contact us to let us know they need a generator. I can fax you the article, and it has the doctor's name, and it has his assistant, and it has an address and phone number in Zaire. And you can also speak to the journalist. They've given me approval. We're all set to go to raise the money. And they kept saying, they have to tell us they need the generator. Well, I'm sorry. It's a long distance call. This was before cell phones, as you all know. We were still fucking around with floppy disk and DOS, okay, just so you know. So, and meanwhile, people are fucking dying within hours of Ebola, okay? So after that, I turned my back on that. And then there was an article the following year about the salaries these people pay themselves. Okay, so I'm pretty much done and not at all shocked. The fact that you guys actually sent money directly to that fucking system is I'm in shock. I'm in absolute shock. What you should have done is call your local preachers, if you could get to them, local, and I'm not kidding when I say that, local sheriff, local whatever that you can, and just felt the vibration to see, can I trust this person or are they full of shit? And there's something we're being asked spiritually to do. Learn how to read people within seconds, number one. Educate yourself on these corporations and nonprofits you've trusted all your life. Understand that what is currently happening in terms of what you think is normal, many toxic shit was normal, and it had to be eradicated, and new things had to be demanded and changed. I mentioned at the top of the live what I meant. I've already given you a list. I'm not going to repeat myself. But it's time to change that. It's time to change the FICO. It's time to say, I don't consent on this. I don't consent on that. None of it. As you well know, I hope you know, that in Europe, you can have that's why most Europeans have masters and PhDs. Your average European has a master's. Average. Why? Because you do not pay for it. They have the best education in the world. Believe it or not. Oh, no, it's in America. No, actually, it's there. The reason why we get so many doctors coming here to learn how to be doctors is because this is the only country where you can come out of school into ER and make upwards over 6 figures. Okay? That is not how it's done in Europe. That's why you get so many foreigners coming here to become doctors in Europe, because here they can make some massive fucking money. $250,000, 750,000, 1.5 million if you're a neurologist, if you're a brain surgeon. Okay? You can work here for 5-6 years and accrue a massive amount of money. You can be a plastic surgeon and be you could be sitting on $100 million in just 10 years and go back home. That's why. Okay, let's stop the bullshit. Some of the best education is in Europe. It's free, and they have master's degrees. And most Europeans know 3 fucking languages. We need to fucking up our game as Americans. If you're not bilingual, trilingual, then you better start. Okay, you better start learning Spanish. Or whatever language you want. Russian. I'm not joking when I say that. Or anything. Portuguese, Arabic, whatever. Mandarin. I don't give a shit what it is. Learn something. Stretch your mind. Okay? Because the complicity and the apathy that has been normalized is not okay. And I've been seeing it. So once we women got the ability to get credit cards, once we got the ability to vote, once we got the ability to eradicate Jim Crow law, all of these things happen. I don't know what happened. What the fuck? We all fell asleep. It's like somebody gave us a sewing and we bopped through the 80s into the 90s, into 2000. And here we are going, holy fuck, what happened? Well, no shit. It's apathy. That's what happens when a whole consciousness becomes apathetic. Because I can tell you that in the 70s, okay, there was no FICO. Do you remember carte blanche? The term carte blanche? There was actually a card called carte blanche. It was the first, if I'm correct, the first credit card besides American Express. So when did FICO start? I know one of you knows the answer. I'm sure of it. In fact, one of you is on a computer and you can find out, when did FICO start? Then ask yourself, why would they do that to people? And it's like the casino. Very few people are going to win at the casino. Do you get winners? Of course you do. But how many? So FICO is, I love how some people go, well, I have a 750 and I'm good. And I go, yeah, but any time you get sick and you end up in the hospital, okay? And any time, your FICO will not recover. Do you understand that? Unless you're some kind of Superman or Superwoman. So your FICO is based on one thing only. You being healthy as fuck like a horse until you drop your body. Is that how you want to live? Because I certainly don't. And if you are ill and you can't pay your tab, let's say, God forbid, you do have cancer. And I have friends who are very, very rich. There's a particular friend of mine who's had brain cancer and they keep removing her tumor. And she's finally in hospice. God bless her soul. I can't imagine There are people who have to divorce. They love each other, but they divorce so that they can get Medi-Cal and Medicare, or else their spouse will be. It'll. Do you know what I'm saying? It's gonna eat up their insurance. It's gonna top it out. It's gonna fuck them up. So it's not a good system. It's not working for us, is it? And the fact that these billions have been going on since, can we say the word October of last year? I think you know the day. And it's been going on for years. We're at the tune of 3 point something billion a year for years, when we should have been building homes for our homeless, like Jimmy Carter was doing with his wife Rosalind. They were doing Habitat for Humanity. These fucking 70-year-old people going out there with helmets on their heads and going out in the ghettos of this country, building homes quietly. I'm sure you've never heard of it. Quietly doing it for years. Okay. That should, where are these, when the fuck's going on that we have homeless people like that? Why we have houses rotting, literally houses sitting and rotting. And that's a particular problem in South Pasadena, California, and Pasadena. There are houses that have been taken over by Caltrans, to give you an idea. This is a metro type, a freeway bus system connection. It's like transportation. It's called Caltrans. And they literally bought houses, penny on the dollar, bullying people out of their homes and letting those houses rot. There are houses all over the state where I live that are rotting instead of being refurbished and retooled and given to homeless families and veterans. I've never served. My father served, but I've never served. I mean, why am I more? I feel like I'm more of a patriot than supposed patriots. These politicians and senators, what the fuck are they doing? The fact that, and I don't give a shit who I offend, the fact that they actually applauded Bibi so we can end this, send us more money so we can end this once and for all. You realize that Daniel Weiss showed the new map. Their intention is to go into Libya, Lebanon, Iraq, into Saudi Arabia. You realize what that means, right? They want more. This was never about Gaza. You get that, right? Because Daniel Weiss showed the map, okay? And said, this is what we're going to fight for this. We're going to get all of this. This is all ours. All ours. And you're footing the bill while your brothers and sisters are trying to figure out how to get off a roof without losing their 8-year-old son. There was a woman who was on a roof with her mother and her father, and the roof collapsed. God bless that woman's soul. That poor woman survived and had to see the horror of her 8-year-old boy being swept away because we couldn't figure out how to get the goddamn Coast Guard with some helicopters come and start airlifting people off their goddamn roofs. That's where we're at now, because Tennessee airlifted all of their guards, whatever they're called, to another country. I think we, as human beings, I think we better start realizing that this is not about race. Because it doesn't matter if you're white, black, yellow, purple, polka dot, orange, or blue. If you're not part of the 1%, they don't give one fuck about you. You better if you have any racism in you, you better stop that shit. Because they've been using it against you to separate you, divide and conquer. You better kumbaya with your black brothers and sisters and your Native Americans and your Hispanics and your all of these people. You better make friends with all of your people, all your brothers and sisters, because this is not about a race anymore. You better stop. This is these illusions that you've allowed, these systems of oppressions you've allowed, is definitely some things that people have been warning us for a long time. George Galloway, look him up. If you don't know who George Galloway is, shame on you. And I'm not kidding. Shame on you. It's time for me to fucking put you to know. George Galloway, look him up. David Icke, look him up. These two men have been talking for 50 years about this system. and about the wars. The fact that we have senators who actually know they're going to pass a bill and they can buy stocks. It's called insider trading. If you and I were buying stocks, because I spoke to a senator and I got a tip that something was going to happen, right? And that's called insider trading. I could go to where, but they do it all day long, and and a lot of content creators. God bless their souls. God bless TikTok. Do you now understand why TikTok is being removed? Because for the first time since ever, we've been awake. Do you know why Orson Welles was banned and blackballed? Orson Welles, the director, actor, because he made a movie called Citizen Kane. Do you know what Citizen Kane was all about? It came out in the 30s. Do you know why? What it was about? He was 27. It was about William Hearst starting wars in other countries to sell newspapers. Watch the movie Citizen Kane with Orson Welles, and then you'll understand what happened. They destroyed that man. He was doing magic tricks on fucking Johnny Carson shows and shit like that. He was trying to raise money. He did a movie called Othello. It took him 7 years to raise the money. He was the most brilliant director, the most brilliant man. He put Shakespeare, he did Hamlet in Harlem, and he had everyone dressed in city clothes. He took very complex plays and concepts and camera angles, but they tried to, because of that one movie. And why did the movie get made? Well, because no one was paying attention. Because MGM and Paramount were all just, they're just making fucking movies every week. They didn't no one read the script. No one and then they realized, oh fuck. But it was too late. So it's like we have been shown so much shit for so many decades that if we are still acting like we don't know what's going on, it's really individually on us. Does that make sense? I heard they were taking all the money. Hang on, let me read your comment, because I really want to read your comments. I really want to know where you guys are at with this. And how you feel thank you for liking the lives. I'm like trying to go. I heard they were taking all the money from the Red Cross that were, yeah, you said that. So I thank you for sharing that, by the way. Do you think you're an indigo or you choose evil? Do you think you're an indigo or do you choose evil? If you can't figure out what the hell I am by listening to what I'm saying, then you really don't know anything about discernment between good and evil. Okay? You really don't have a clue. And I don't see how you could actually say indigo or evil. How the fuck are indigos evil? Indigos are the souls. Clearly you're using words you've parroted and you don't understand what you're talking about. Indigos are the ones that have been kicking doors since the 1940s. Okay? Those are those souls that were the hippie generations who actually made massive changes and destroyed Jim Crow, who were fighting for the rights of Native Americans and who were doing all kinds of things like that. Okay? They are the wayfarers. They are the ones who suffered the most. They are the avenging angels. They have the energy, by the way, indigo, aka Angel Michael, blue light. I have absolutely no patience for ignorance. There's so much information on the internet that the fact that you don't know the difference shows that you're not making any efforts to fucking read. I'm not kidding. I don't have time. I really don't have time. I know the hippies, they taught us how to hug trees to fix electrons. No, they didn't teach us how to hug trees, my friend. They taught us how to fucking go out in the streets and protest. Okay? Like again, please, I'm begging you. I was not raised or born in this country, and I should not know more about your history than I shouldn't. You should know more than me. And I don't understand this. If you look at the history of the hippies, besides free love, like everyone's concentrating on free love, fuck free love. That wasn't it. Okay? What they did was amazing. Watch the movie Billy Jack and the trial of Billy Jack. There you go. That'll show you what hippies were really, really, really about. Carlos Castaneda was writing books on shamanism in the 60s. People don't know where, and probably because the only hippies you were exposed to were hippies in the free love Woodstock 1969, all that shit. And they were all, in La La Land on LSD. Those guys that were hippies left hippiedom as soon as it was no longer comfortable to be a hippie. The real hippies never left hippie consciousness. Never, ever. And they were rebels. and they always rebelled, and they knew what was going on from the giddy up. And they listened to all kinds of voices, from Chavez to Malcolm X to Martin Luther King to Farrakhan, all these people. They were listening. Many of the hippies were mostly white, and they were not in the consciousness of racism. Okay, they weren't buying into that at all. And they were really, really trying to change things. But many of the hippies, supposed hippies that were doing it because it was chic and fun, and the sex was good and the LSD was rolling, they were full of shit and put on ties as soon as it was time to get out of college. They were never hippies. So hippies is not hair, it's not sex, and it's not drugs. It's a consciousness. It's a rebelliousness. Okay? And a lot of them planted seeds into people like me. Okay? And that's what we need to understand. I think we've missed the mark as to what a real hippie is. And you could say that many of us are still hippies. In fact, we have hippies right now born in 2000. You know what I mean? Anyway, so she isn't listening. What are you on? I agree with you. Yeah. Well, listen, you're really, I'm not here to be honest with you, let me see how many, 16 people. Okay. So let me just say this. I'm not really here to talk to you unless you have something where you've actually understand something. And because it's obvious that you don't understand and you've not educated yourself, it's really not, it's not worth it. It really, actually, it's a waste of time. It's a complete waste of time. All right, so removing this person out of the live only because they're boring. We're going to move on, okay? Sorry, I don't have time for people. I'm not here to teach them 2 + 2 = 4. I can't. I just can't. If you have a really interesting point of view that it goes against mine, I totally agree. Please do it. Tell me why we are so brainwashed that we're prioritizing corporations that don't give one fuck about us. Do you remember when we had the banking crash in 2008? Do you remember that? I want you to watch the movie Margin Call. Watch the movie Margin Call. This is for educational purpose only, which means it's not for your entertainment. What does that mean? Watch the movie Margin Call, and at around 4 o'clock in the morning, how they start dumping their stocks, knowing they will never work again, knowing that what they're doing is illegal, knowing they'll be on private jets out of there, probably, right? Private jets out of the country, ruining people's entire life savings. What does that mean when I say life savings? People having $150,000 and it took them their entire life to put that money together. Ruined, gone. Watch Margin Call. We bailed them out, but you know what Iceland did? What did Iceland do? They put them all in jail. They put them all in jail. They're probably still in jail today. We keep bailing people out. If you can't manage your money, my friend, because isn't that our lessons, that we can't do bankruptcy? Because, we're told and we're shamed that we work for a living, that we work hard. Many of you have 2 jobs, right? And we are shamed into thinking that because we're not running drugs, we're not running children, we're not doing any of the illegal shit that makes you a multimillionaire or billionaire. None of us are doing that. Okay? The people that are making really good money, coloring outside the lines, are doing illegal shit. Other people, they have, they're either attorneys, litigators, they're making $350 an hour or $1,000 an hour. They're brain surgeons, doctors, ER, nurses. You get what I'm saying? They're architects, right? You get me? Okay. But the average human being on the planet Earth, by the way, compared to most third world countries, you're fucking rich making $60,000 a year. You're rich. Like, rich. I heard comments that have always struck me. I remember talking to a Western-minded person. I won't say what country, because it doesn't matter, because they all think like that. Boomers. It was a boomer, by the way. And I said, yeah, you realize they're making like 25 cents an hour. Well, in those countries, you don't need much money to live. And I looked at him, I go, well, how come they live in shacks? Clearly, They're living in shacks because they're making 25 cents an hour, right? But that's the mentality of the Western mind. Well, 25 cents, it goes a long way in those parts of the world. No, it doesn't, because they're in a shack. They've literally found trash to make a hovel, a house. They have no clean running water. They have to walk miles to get to water. And then they don't even have a purifying system to purify it from amoebas. Clearly, 25 cents an hour doesn't work well in that part of the world either. But the consciousness is there. I remember there's an article, and I had a class, a lit class, and it was about writing an essay about the $6 polo sold at Walmart. $6. And how we had to deconstruct the profit margin of Walmart to get you a $6 polo shirt to the store, to Walmart. Like, what was the person getting paid who made it? How much money were they getting? The people who weave the material, to cut the material, to sew the material, to put a label on the material, to ship the material, to put it on the rack for $6. LA Times article. It's this is, again, when we had journalists. And if you have any heart, it will make you cry. Because clearly, all of the people from the picking of the cotton, right, because it was a cotton chart, to maybe weaving it with polyester, to cutting it, to sewing it, to the label, to the shipping, to the docks. Clearly, these people are poor. They're making nothing for that profit margin to be accessible to Walmart, right? For example, let's use Walmart as an example, because, as you know, most Walmart, actually all Walmart employees are getting food stamps. So we're allowing our government to pay. Let me put it this way. That is not acceptable. Why are people working for a massive corporations like that getting food stamps on your dime? I'm not against the food stamps. Don't get me wrong. Because people need it. I'm not here to shame poverty. I'm here to shame corporations that create poverty, that creates food stamp needs. Does that make sense? That's what I'm about. So when we're looking at this concept, right, of, yes, yeah, I'm with you guys. That's cool. So what we're trying to do here as a people, because right now on TikTok, they're going to be talking about who should wear braids, how many people P. Diddy has fucked over. That's more important to them than the flood victims. Or you'll have lives right now talking about why the government is not, should the government help the flood victims. Then we have racist views of the flood victims. I just posted a beautiful video of an African woman saying, my heart is full for everyone. I don't care where these people's consciousness are. Again, putting aside racism and all that bullshit. And here's this beautiful white man who duets her video. He tags her video and is almost crying, saying, yes, I know this is true, but I am so glad. There's so much love in this country. And yet we're not tapping in to the level that we should. Why? Well, it's not your fault, and it's certainly not the people's fault who are loving, like the video I just spoke of. It's because everyone's so busy just keeping their head above water. Watch the movie Strange Days with Angela Bassett and Ralph Fiennes. Why do I want you to watch this? Watch it because it's about racism. It's about technology gone wrong. It's about obsession of the sacred masculine going into weird addictions. It's about people just holding on. There's a great line where she's saying to him, I'm just trying to just hold on. Great line, simple line, but a line echoing across the planet. I'm just trying to hold on. Watch the movie Strange Days. And I think it's spelled weird. So look up Angela Bassett and put Strange Days on Google and find it. Or Ralph Fiennes. Unbelievable movie. It is based on 1999 going into Y2K and the racism. And it's really what they're trying to do to us. They're trying to pick a fight with us. They're trying for us to have an internal battle against each other based on this color of our skin. They've been trying that for years. Don't fucking fall into that shit. Don't do that. Your brothers and sisters are multicolored. In fact, the Hopi Indians prophesied that the rainbow children, that's us, my friends, would change the world. Look up the Hopi prophecy. I'm actually paraphrasing it very badly, but I really want to share with you. The Hopi prophecy was that the rainbow children would save the planet. We would save the world. We are the Hopi prophecy. Let's not allow our government, our greedy, narcissistic Uncle Bob, who's denying the abuse of, essayed abuse and all kinds of shit that that families do to each other, because in a way we've been emotionally, spiritually essayed. I'm sorry. Uncle Sam. Let's call him Uncle Sam. Isn't that perfect? And Uncle Sam has fucked us again and again. And finally, Uncle Sam is narcissistically telling us that we're crazy. That's not what happened. We need to stand together as a people. All of us. Biracial means that you're black. Is that really a conversation we should keep going on and on and on? You want to keep playing the game that was given to you by people who wanted to control you for fucking hundreds of years? As long as we keep talking this stupid, asinine shit, as long as we refuse to believe in reincarnation, as long as we can't see ourselves in the eyes of a Japanese man, a Chinese woman, a Hispanic man, a black child, if we can't see ourselves in that because we have been incarnated into those bodies, if we refuse to see that, and we are going to take the psyop game of divide and conquer that was seeded into this construct around the world for purposes of divide and conquer by the 1%. If we're going to keep doing that, then we're lost. If we actually instead embrace the Hopi prophecy, and that it's actually what the 1% is afraid of. They're afraid that we're going to embrace the Hopi prophecy and become the rainbow children, which means black, white, brown, yellow, red, pink, polka dot, or orange. Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm sure you've heard about a fleet of ships coming. I don't know if it's a rumor. I don't know. But there's a fleet of ships coming at the speed of light towards planet Earth. An armada of ships. Is it true? I don't know. But you know what's the response? Not fear. Thank fucking God somebody's coming with some sense. Do you believe this shit? In other words, we are so tired of this fucking system, and I hope it's true, to be honest, that whether it's true or not, it's not really the fact that it's true or not that's making me giggle. It's the fact that if it's a rumor, let's say it's just made up shit, but the fact that there's an armada of ships coming at the speed of light towards planet Earth, that people are so sick of the fucking current shit that they're excited over these. We don't know if they're here for good or bad, but we know this. Anything is better than this shit. Not one more year. So again, I don't know if it's true or not, but I have to say that I'm on the camp of, yeah, please come. Speed of light, you're not going fast enough, my friend. If there's actually an armada ship coming towards planet Earth and you're at the speed of light and you're still not landed, please hurry. I mean, fucking hurry, because we need you. It's crazy, isn't it? Let me see. Any comments on that? Have you heard of that? The armadas of ships coming. Have you heard about that? Come save us. Exactly. We're done. We're fucking done, right? So, Godspeed. Exactly. Please hurry. So, I will upload this live only because it might help. You might want to share that with your the boomer parents who are actually going to actually do the will, and they actually have money to drop in your lap, and they're going to play the will game. No, you want to play the fucking trust fund game. You want to play that game. It's the game all the rich people. No one does a will. Okay, that's totally 1950s middle class mentality. Real fucking intelligent people have trust funds. Okay, if you're going to spend $1,000 on a will, please spend $1,000 or $1,500. Throw in an extra $500 on a fucking trust fund. I'm not joking. Okay. So I hope that, thank you. Was it a beautiful life? That's really sweet of you. Thank you, VDRS. You're always so sweet. Any last questions or comments? I just wanted to step up and support one of my sisters because we were having a quick conversation, and I wanted to know that she's absolutely right. And the powerful download read today, Tony. Thank you. I appreciate that. I just want you guys to prioritize yourself and just understand that you're not crazy. Most of you are going through massive depression. Masculines are going through massive depressions because they've been spiritually castrated by the system, through the schooling system. You can't take a 7-year-old boy and make him sit in a chair for fucking 8 hours. It's not normal. Plato was teaching his classes in nature. What the fuck are we doing? So we're doing a lot of things to harm. Not we. We have had to deal with a lot of harm since we were birthed by systems that knew corrupted systems that knew exactly the agenda ahead before we did. So many of you, when you start getting spiritually awake, right? I'm just going to leave you with that. When you start looking around going, am I crazy? Is this a Twilight Zone fucking episode? Like, I don't understand. Why am I the one getting it? Well, I don't know why it's you. I can't answer that. But I can tell you, lucky you. Lucky you that you're not actually a zombie. That you're actually looking around, questioning everything and going, am I crazy? No, actually, you're sane. When you're depressed, right? That shows intelligence. It shows intelligence. Okay? It shows you're realizing that this is not it. Well, no shit, you're right. So it's very important that many of you start reading Zachariah Stitchin's books on the translation of the Sumerian tablets. You need to reject Darwinism. That's not how we fucking came. We all know that now. No, we didn't fall because of Adam and Eve and Adam and Steve. We didn't fall because of that. We didn't fall because of the Atlantis. That was one fall, but it wasn't the fall. It wasn't the final fall. There's so much that I've been sharing on my lives, and I upload these on YouTube. I did talk about sexual trauma with the masculine and childhood trauma for the masculine. I want you to go check that out on my YouTube because it will help you. And it's something you might want to listen to with your men, your sons, your uncles, your fathers, your you know what I mean? It's important that we stop the divide and conquer. The 4B movement came from Korea. Yes, they have problems, a lot of problems. Do we have problems with men? We also have problems with women. Don't get me wrong. Again, don't get me started. But the 4B movement, it's not our problem. Okay? We have amazing men. We have really toxic men and women, by the way. But we have amazing men who are divine masculines. Polly's one of them. I have some other unicorns that I know personally. And my son's one of them. And my husband was one of them. My twin was one of them. I mean, hello. So what are we doing here? We're actually looking at 4B movement and taking that on as our call to arms. I love this t-shirt going around talking about how women were not witches. I would buy that t-shirt, but I wouldn't buy it to shame men. I would buy it to educate young girls to know how far we went so they wouldn't be selling their ass and on TikTok. Do you understand? There are grown-ass women that should know better. And in some cases, I look at women's conscience and I'm like, we're no better than we were in the 50s. What the fuck are they selling their asses for? And when I mean selling, I mean on screen. I don't mean a SA worker. I don't mean an S worker, excuse me. I don't mean a pole dancer. I don't mean a woman who decides to do her own OnlyFans. I will never put those women down. I'm talking about bimbos that are doing it for free. To me, that's bimbo mentality. You're just doing it for likes. What are you, stupid? You either make money or shut the hell up. Make money so you can get a PhD. Do you know that most of these women do it to go to college to become brain surgeons or therapists or whatever? I have massive respect for women like that because they're saying, okay, I have no other way to raise this money because, we have such a great corrupt system that education is not free here. So we've pushed our women to sell their ass to get a master's degree. Don't think this is I went in waitress and I had 3 jobs and I don't give a fuck if that's what you want to do with your time and you want to have 3 jobs as a waitress and you think that's normal. While some other girl is deciding, I just want to do this and I want to go to college and I really want to study and concentrate. I'm going to do this. I hate doing this, but I'm going to do it. I don't think either woman is wrong. It's however a person decides, listen, I can't afford college tuition. I want the best. I don't want this life. I'm doing it temporarily and then I'm out. And a lot of them are out. As soon as they're graduated, they're out. They're not doing that anymore. But it's our systems that's pushing our kids to make those choices. Having 3 jobs or doing OnlyFans or selling their ass. It's our system. Let's not ever fucking forget that. Because in France, in the red and blue team, it's fucking free. And all you have to come up with is books. The money for the books. And there are systems and grants for that, by the way. And that's why the average European has a master's and not a PhD. Okay, all of them. You'll really pay attention. You'll see that. Okay? So we need to revamp everything. None of us should have a student loan of $45,000 to $100,000 to $200,000. That is not normal. Why are we normalizing that? That's not okay. Not fucking okay. And that loan can prevent you from buying a house. Debt to ratio, my friends. And you know what I'm talking about, you Americans. You know what I'm talking about. Okay? Last questions or comments? Any questions or comments? No? Okay, so I'm sorry I missed it. We'll watch on YouTube. Fantastic. I should have sent you that. Well, this is about money and boomers and brainwashing and systems of corruption. And hopefully it'll be entertaining. But yeah, so we just need to go back, okay? We need to look at other countries. And for almost 40 years, we were told that Canada, like socialized systems and people are on the waiting list for a heart and they pass away before they get a heart and this and that. Why would you give a heart to some, no offense, okay, God bless you all. Why would you give a heart surgery to an 84-year-old person? Now, you might say, well, I love my grandmother. I want to live another 10 years. I understand that. But if it's a choice between a 16-year-old girl and Grandma Moses, who's been around for 84 years, let me put it this way. My mother would never do a heart transplant. I would never do it. At my age, I wouldn't do it. Why? Because I would think there's an 18-year-old that needs it more than me. I've lived my life. It's almost like a self-triaging system. Do you understand? Oh, I love living. Don't get me wrong. But if I had to, but what was interesting is they were showing Canada as a no. Meanwhile, they were doing all kinds of busloads of people, Americans, going to Canada to get their insulin because it was cheaper. Isn't that funny? How we've been brainwashed into thinking this is normal. Whereas I've lived under a socialist system, France being one, Switzerland another one, England another one. They've all saved my family's life. They've saved my family's life. I'm going to give you an example, and I've said this once before, but my father had a heart attack in 1984 in San Francisco, 1984, San Francisco. I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. He had the habit, because he's an old timer, depression, born in 1923, blah, 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 World War II vet, And anyway, so he's having a heart attack. My mother drives him to the hospital. And he had this proclivity of always having $10,000 in cash. It's kind of the old mattress thing. Put your money in your mattress, right? But he always had in his briefcase 10 grand. I swear to God, it would never went lower than 10 grand. He was one of the old timers. He always had like hundreds of dollars in his pocket. Very mafia, Italian type of energy on that level. And he didn't have insurance. He's having a heart attack. They're not admitting him. I'm not joking when I say that. Oh, well, they're supposed to serve you. No, they did not. My mother pulled out bills, stacks, and said, give me a receipt. Please admit him now. And they admitted him. And they saved his life after she paid. So I'm not a fan of our system in medical care. I think it is for very few people. I think it's a crock of shit. I think they make people suffer when they shouldn't suffer. There are people that they keep alive in hospice care longer or in nursing homes longer than they should. I'm not saying harm them. I'm saying they give them all kinds of shit to keep them going when really sometimes the natural course of life is to drop your body, like my beautiful twin had to do. Beautiful man who suffered, actually, from brain cancer, okay? So one of my clients, they kept him going with steroids, which was making him crazy. And it kept him alive for 2 more months than mine. Mine refused, thank God. God bless his soul. He had such courage. And he has. He's an amazing soul. Refuse steroids. When you have brain cancer, they give you steroids. And it makes you crazy. It makes you absolutely crazy. And it's not the brain cancer that's making you crazy. It's the steroids. But that is put on a cha-ching tab to the insurance company. Okay? And so there's certain things, protocols that they're doing that's not a fucking okay. It's not a fucking okay. So it's lengthening the pain. It's lengthening, instead of the person passing away a month, the month they're supposed to, it's making them suffer through that dying process another month or 2. Cha-ching. Cha-ching. It's interesting how Canada and other countries are allowing people to just take the unalive. I'm going to unalive myself because I can't pay rent, or I'm going to unalive myself because in other words, I'm depressed. In other words, anyone that is not in the upper echelon of money, who can't actually pay their way. In other words, if you can't pay your way and you might become a burden to the government, they will help you unaliven yourself. I'm not joking. I saw a documentary on this Canadian who couldn't afford the rent. The rent had gone another, I think, $700 or something like that, or $600. He could not afford it. He was on an income. And the reporter said, well, do you want to live? He goes, no, I want to live, but I can't afford to live. And I would be homeless in the snow. And so he's probably gone. And he made an arrangement to unaliven himself through the government, through them paying a pot or whatever the fuck they did. And so because he couldn't afford to live, not because he didn't want to live, because he couldn't afford to live. And they were helping him plan this. That's no longer, it's not only corrupt, it's actually pure evil. There's no coming back from this. In 20 to 30 years, they will write about this time, about how we allow these people to treat our most vulnerable, how greed was more important, how men and women became trillionaires while the many suffered, how floods came and went and no one gave a shit except the people on the ground like you and me. How Trump, no matter how you feel about Trump, and I'm not a fan of Trump, was the only, he might be a criminal, he might be grabbing women, he might be a complete lech, but that man put on some fucking thigh-high boots and was walking in the fucking floods looking at what was happening. Where was Kamala? She was in Las Vegas. Where was Biden? God knows. I don't think he knew. Okay? They will write about this time. And they will wonder what the hell we were thinking to allow Gaza to happen and Lebanon and let's pick a fight. And this consciousness of warring, greedy, stock buying, insider trading MFers. They will talk about this generation. And as you know, my philosophies are not to go Sarah Connor on these MFers. I spoke to a client today, and I let him know that the way out of this bullshit is through. Read the book Celestine Prophecy. It is a parable, meaning it's not true. It didn't happen. But this was a very big book in the 80s. Cindy Crawford, Richard, all kinds of people were reading that book. Michael Jackson, they were all reading that book. Every single Prince, all of them. Okay, it was the book, Celestine Prophecy. James Redfield. But what he describes in that book actually happened in the Harappan Valley, Hindus Valley, where people raised their vibration to such a level that they were no longer a frequency match to 3D and went into 5D. That's the new earth we're talking about. You can't fight these people in a Sarah Connor way. You can't. We've tried. We've done it as Vikings. We've done it as Carthaginians. We've done it as Greeks. We've done it in the French Revolution. We've done it. They always come back like fucking worms. Like, I don't know. They just come back like worms. But But the new earth is about going through the portals of high vibrational consciousness. So how do you get there? Well, first know that the shit show's for real, and know that you have a power to dissolve negativity. But we have to do it collectively. Hope be prophecy. Remember what I said. And so the way out is through the vibration of your meditations, of your frequency, of your visualizations. I've had many lives I've discussed in detail, but I think I'm going to actually, if one of you could send me a message on my message to remind me to do a live tomorrow night, because I have a hypnotherapy session. I have a couple clients, but at night I'll do it, where we can talk about the steps, the levels of consciousness you have to attain, which is not difficult. It's just habit forming. You just form the habit. It becomes your new normal, just like this fuckery's become all of our normal. It's no longer. And we're going to vibrate out of this. And it will no longer be part of our concern. Meanwhile, if it's not a rumor, we've got fucking an armada of jets coming to the speed of light from another species of people. Even if it's the Anunnaki, he'll still be. Sometimes you need new bullshit. That's all I gotta say. Sometimes the old bullshit is so old that even new bullshit is better than the old. I'm kidding, but I feel as if maybe we're seeing things because we're parting into other veils of frequency. You know, I don't know if you know this. There are colors we actually can't see. This is science, because the colors go so fast we can't see them. I think I'm expressing it incorrectly, but there are colors that we can't see because we don't have the. It's based on, I believe, light. It's based on speed of light, where there are colors we can't see. And we can't see them with our mortal eyes. It's not so much that I think we can't see them through 3D eyes, but we could probably see it in 5D eyes. And if you've ever had your visions when you're doing your meditations, or you're having lucid dreams, how incredible and rich the colors are. You know, they're rich, right? Some colors you can't even describe. Anyway, so that's the way, the new earth. Okay, it's the only way. Okay, if you guys start doing Sarah Connor bullshit, you're going to lose. We've done it before. You've all done it. You've all been warriors. You've all done it. You've all been on the battlefields all over the world for centuries. It works for one generation, and it goes right back to the same bullshit. I swear to you. Just look at history. You'll know what I'm. So out of this, we go through it as a people, as the Hopi said, as the rainbow people. We walk out of this 3D, right, and we cross these crystalline bridges into the other side, and we have to see it, breathe it, smell it, taste it, as if it's happening now. And suddenly we'll be looking at each other going, what the fuck just happened? Oh my God, I think we made it. We'll look at each other like a movie scene, like, oh my God, we made it. We made it. We're here. Holy fuck, it's over. We're here. And some of us will be alive to see it. And some of us will have to drop our bodies because we're so entrenched in the brainwashing that we can't believe that's possible. We have such entrenched self-loathing that to drop our bodies will be our way to get to 5D, if you get what I'm saying. It's what had to happen to my mother. It's what had to happen to my twin. Okay? But some of you will actually see it happen. You'll see the transformation, and you will not have amnesia over it. You'll know. You'll be fully aware that you actually just crossed the last bridge. And it'll fall away. It'll be done. And that's what I see happening for us. So there's no Sarah Connor. Believe me, I know how you feel. I want to do it too, but we can't. That's not the answer. Okay? All right, let me see your last comments. And oh my God, hearts. Any other questions or comments? All right, so I'm going to post this on YouTube. If for some crazy reason somebody hits you up for a Akashic reading or tarot reading and they say it's me, it's not me. If you want to do a reading, you go to tonybarca.com, Tony, T-O-N-I, Barca, B-A-R-C-A.com. Fill out the intake form. Please don't get hustled. Please, I'm begging you. There are so many shysters that are posing at me, and I'm not even that big of an influencer at all or content creator at all. I don't know why it happens, but it does happen. Thank you. Rest assured, we are with you. So much love, Polly. I love you. Thank you, brother, for being you. You're such a jewel. And thank you, Yessi, for your support. Thank you, VDRS, for your support. And thank you, Rachel, for having this amazing conversation that actually inspired me. Yes, my father always said the same thing about socialism. It's Croatian, it's Czech. That's interesting. I think that unless you're making the fuck you money, and fuck you money is like 36 million. Unless you've got like 20 to 36 million, you better start embracing socialism, because it's going to give you healthcare, free education. It's going to give you security. You're not going to be taxed off the ass. There's going to be, in other words, car insurance is not going to fucking gouge you and change prices and decide that they're going to do a bait and switch, and shit like that is against the law in those parts of the world. It's just regulated. It just says there's no GMO. That's against the law. Monsanto's outlawed in all of Europe. It's outlawed. It's against the law. I mean, let me put it this way. There might be fucked up politicians in Europe, don't get me wrong, but then they're not out to destroy their people. Okay, they just want to make more money. Whereas here, I feel like Uncle Sam and Dementia Biden and the Democratic Republican Party, no offense, I think, honestly, God bless Jill Stein. I really do feel, and I never thought I'd say this, but I've been really watching her, and she really gives a shit about this country. She really loves this country. She's really trying to be. I mean, if you want to vote for a woman, vote for her. If that's your thing. Oh, I just want to vote for a woman. Well, there you go. You got one. Go ahead and vote for her. Well, I really don't want Trump to get in. Dude, you've got fucking Tulsi Gabbard. He's got the biggest, baddest bitch. I mean, she's amazing. She's a badass. She's a warrior. She's been to Afghanistan, and she's got a pure heart. She really does. And she doesn't say this, but she's actually a devotee of Krishna. She actually believes in reincarnation. She actually chants mantras. She doesn't say that because most of the Christian coalition and other religions like Muslims and so forth would freak the fuck out. But let me just say, she believes in God, okay? And she totally has her own spiritual compass, and she has one. Okay, Kennedy has his picadillos. He's got massive root chakra issues. We get it on sexuality. That's why we talk about it. And we're trying to get our sexual root chakra, divine masculines, to be healed. But let me tell you something. That man has fought for conserving. The Hudson River right now is clean because of him. I'm not joking. He did a lot of overnights by factories spewing their bullshit at 3:00 in the morning so they would be undetected, and his ass was there with testing kits and a little tent pitched out. Here's a millionaire from a famous family, one of the royals of this country, pitching his tent to test the waters, and because of him, you can actually swim in the Hudson River again. Okay, so he might, this is the old guard, these old boomers, these masculine boomers who have had massive sexual issues and trauma and toxicity, and which was normalized by Hugh Hefner and Bob Guccione and people of that ilk. Okay, normalizing this kind of fuckery, because once they have a divine masculine that is a badass, that's here to protect, who's a patriot, loves his country, loves his family, would do anything. Well, and would actually go against a system that is going to harm his family, right? Well, the best way to get rid of men like that is through WAR. And if you can't do that, then it's through PORNE, or porn, if you get what I'm saying, porn, whatever they call it. It's been by design, okay? And they've actually normalized this idea that men need to be confused about their sexuality or shamed by it or whatever. So Kennedy has his shit. Tulsi Gabbard's solid. Jill Stein really wants the best for the country. And Kamala doesn't give a shit. It's really, hey, you have to look at action, okay? And everyone's shown who they are. Trump's out there fucking sledging through the flood zone. I don't care if it's a photo op. I don't care what it is. The point is, he's been pew-pewed at twice, and his ass is still out there in his deep 70s walking through fucking water. He's a billionaire. Do you really think he needs to do that? But whatever you believe. At this point, we have a broken system. We have lobbyists that should be outlawed. No one should be a lobbyist. Lobbyists out there, you're being warned. This shit ends. You better find new jobs, because that's going to be out. Okay, it's going to be outlawed. No more lobbying. No more senators clocking 10 million a year, though they're getting a salary from the government of $250,000. Where's the 10 million come from? Lobbyists, my friends. To the 1 million, 2 million, 3 million a year, you're going to get 10 million. But and also the stocks you're buying, because you're getting insider trading on Congress floor. Come on, I mean, it's like all that shit has to end. It better end, because if it doesn't end, this country can't survive any more abuses like that. Eventually, you can rob a bank again and again. Eventually, there's nothing more to rob. You know what I'm saying? So it's like common sense. But you know what we need to do energetically, and we have the power to do it. Or we're working them like a dog, 80 plus hours a week, trying to pay the bills and survive and feed his family. That's it. Exactly. You're amazing, and your message was perfectly articulated. Thank you. Or working them like a dog. Yeah. When you have a man who sees his worth, this is like, I'm seeing that with a lot of sacred masculines, where they see their worth by the lack of money. So it's by design. They know exactly how to castrate the masculine's energy through money. Because what happens is, most of the men who have made money on their own had to do it illegally. God bless, and I'm not a hater of Andrew Tate at all. I think he's got brilliant ideas. I think he's unconventional. I think he's got his own toxicity, but he has machoed up. He had to. He had a very difficult father. I don't think his father was very kind, very loving, there was that stoicism that is so toxic. You could say that his father went through probably MK Ultra. I wouldn't be surprised, by the way. But what I will say is that he has knowledge. Candace Owen, not a fan, and yet a fan. It's the weirdest thing. It's like suddenly I'm hearing people saying shit, because when 20 years ago, we were all brainwashed into just going party line. And today, all of us are looking at the truth going, oh, this person has truth. I don't like them, but they have good wisdom here. And this person I don't like either, but they have good wisdom over here. And we're seeing the assholes. It doesn't matter what party you're in. Okay? Like Gavin Newsom and what he's done to California. I wasn't a big fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger as a Republican, but to be honest with you, California would never look like that under his watch. I can tell you that. I've lived in California for 30 years, so I know what I'm talking about. So no matter my feelings about Arnold Schwarzenegger, I can tell you that if he had the reins of California, none of the shit going on in California would happen. None of it. It'd be still thriving. It'd be beautiful. We wouldn't have homeless blocks and blocks and blocks and blocks. I mean, I'm not kidding. Fucking 5 blocks on either side with homeless people. Tents, couches, RVs, cars. Not joking. And this is Berkeley, San Francisco, Sacramento, Malibu. I'm not joking. It's not a joke. Under his watch. That's what he's created in his little tenure. His little with Nancy Pelosi. They're all fucking related. Nepotism beyond belief. It's like the Borgias, for Christ's sakes. Anyway, so my point is, what I'm saying is, try to find knowledge. Don't get shut down. Oh, I don't like Andrew Tate. He's a misogynist. Yes, he's a misogynist who's watched men and women, and he's used pornography to make his fortune. He's admitted to it. Not a fan of that either. But the man knows psychology. And sometimes the biggest assholes have a lot of nectar. I don't like Teal Swan either, but she has knowledge. So I think we need to open ourselves up to where the nectar lies. There's an old black saying. It's saying, eat the fish and throw away the bones. One of my friends used to say that, and he was one of my work colleagues. And he used to say, eat the fish and throw away the bones. Very wise words. You don't have to take it all in. You don't have to love a person to go, wow, that was brilliant. It's like, it's okay. It's okay not to like someone, but to say, wow, I never thought of that before. I'm going to leave you with this last thing that was really, really brilliant. And Rachel knows what I'm talking about, because we have a little group. Beth, you'll love this. There was a woman that was on a talk show. And this talk show was being handled by, it was hosted by an African-American man. And they were talking about misogyny and males. And he said, "Oh yeah, well, you're not going to. You don't know enough about men to say what the toxicity of men is." And she said, "Let me put it to you this way, as a white woman." She said, "Being an African American male, you know more about white suppression than I do." Mic drop. Because you see, I can't possibly know everything you've gone through because I'm a white woman, but you're a black man. And because of that, oppression is oppression. And because I'm a woman, I know the oppression that men give me. So I know more about you as a masculine and men across the board because I get to see it day by day, just like you as a black man sees the oppression by my own people to you. He couldn't argue. I've never heard that argument in my life. It was mic drop. I was like, holy fuck. Yes. Yes, that's true. So this idea that you have to be that race to understand the problems of, no, that's not how it works. So as a woman, of course you're going to know more about the fuckery of men. Because good men, how could a good man really, well, men could never do that. Well, dude, you're a man. Why would you know that? That's toxic men do that to women all the time. But you wouldn't know that because you're a good man. It doesn't even enter your mind. Similarly, that's what she was saying about race. Most brilliant thing I've ever seen in my life. I actually saved the video. I was like, this is going to disappear. I'm fucking saving it on my archives. Like, this is too good. I don't even know who this woman is. But if she is throwing nectar like this, like bombs all over, like truth bombs all over the place, like I please God, I hope she writes a book because I'm buying it. But that's what I mean by like this idea of you can't possibly know how I'm, yes, there's different angles of perceptions to oppression, but we don't have time for that right now. My point to you is we don't have time to keep belaboring how we were oppressed anymore. Okay? That's my point to it too. Yes, we know. And we need to all understand that if you are a female, you probably know more about men than men. And if you're a man, you probably know more about the oppression that you go through women. Because I don't know what it feels like to be rejected when you're trying to ask for a woman's number. And in one day you get rejected 5 times. I don't know how that feels like. I don't know how women, like, you go up just to, because she's flirting at you and she's flipping her hair and you go up to her and then she acts like you're crazy and she's gaslighting you on the signals you got. I don't know what that feels like. I don't know. And just like you don't know what it feels like to be a young woman coming out of the ocean and you're being followed and you're telling the guy, I'm not interested. Or like I had a person recently, I'll give you my own example. And I said, this guy was coming on to me and I said, well, thank you, I'm not interested. And he went, well, I just want to ask you, maybe we could just be friends. And I said, you don't understand. I just lost the love of my life from brain cancer. I am definitely not interested. It's not personally you. It's across the board. It's a fucking no. He still insisted. And I finally that was it. And so most good men would understand, I'm not interested, much less I lost the love of my life through brain cancer. I'm not interested. That would have been a no, but no, it continued. And you guys as men don't understand that happens to many women all the time. Why would you? You're not that kind of a piece of shit. You can never relate to that. And for women who are way younger than me, in their 30s, that shit happens to them all fucking day long. All fucking day long. And then the shaming. I could tell you stories of my own experiences as a young woman. Being harassed, followed down the street, and literally having to turn around and going, get the fuck away from me before I call the cops. You like literally having to explode into a rage, and then moving towards the guy with finding, like, where can I find a stick? Because I'm about to fucking go off on him. You good men would never understand that reality because you're not that kind of man. So of course that you can't connect to it. And so that's what we need to start understanding, and then unify immediately, because we don't have time to kick the ball on these conversations. We've wasted too many years on this bullshit. But we need to just say, oh yeah, okay, I get you. You know more about that than me. Okay, got it. Okay, now let's unify. ASAP. We do not need to do lives that go on and on about who should wear braids and who should be biracial and who should be in someone's toilet. Okay? We don't have time for that shit. Do you see what's happening in the world? Do you really think this is important? I don't think so. All right. Thank you so much. Let me read your comments, if any. Yep, we're good. All right, my loves. I love you all very much. And I want to thank you for being such supportive energies for me. It really warms my heart. I will upload this tonight and please share it. Okay. By the way, as I leave, 11.1K. So 3, which is the balance of the mind, body, and spirit. Wow. What a life. Thank you so much. Much love. Namaste.